I realize the reality of it is this. From a checkbook standpoint, many people don't keep an accurate record of their balance. All right? And quite honestly, why is beyond me. Yes, you have access to your balance 24/7 online, but that's one person's. Whose money is it? It's your money. Wouldn't you want to, if you're worried about keeping track of your money, don't you want to have as many people or try to be as accurate as you possibly can? Are you totally going to trust somebody else to keep an accurate balance of your account? I don't know if you realize this. There's dishonest people in there. Now, I'm not saying that people who work at a bank are dishonest. Two of my in-laws are working at a bank. Not dishonest, but they work at a bank. And yes, there's a high level of trust of those people who work at a bank. Number one, I don't think they're going to steal money from you, but they might. It's happened before. And number two, they're people. They make mistakes. Machines make mistakes.
I keep a book.
So wouldn't you want to have at least another example, another reason just to double check? And I'm not saying that you're going to be 100% accurate all the time, but if two people have the same number, there's a chance it's pretty right. If something's off, now at least we can go and we can kind of, all right, what's going on here? We can start the investigation process. So I highly recommend, and again, I can't tell you what to do once you leave this classroom, but I highly recommend that you keep an accurate record of your checking account. Now, if we take a look at this, take a look at this problem. We've got a couple things going on here. We've got a check here. We have $100 in our account, so I'm going to do one of two things. You can do one of two things. Right on the checkbook register where it says balance, so right there, if you're going to start a checking account, there's the lights out there, right? If you're going to start and open up a checking account, that's where you can put that beginning balance. Or if you're kind of the accounting nut, you have a little bit of accounting background, and that's how you kind of operate, you could write one of these lines here, beginning balance, or balance brought forward, or something, and put that $100 balance on a line here. Either way is fine. You need to somehow identify that we have a balance of $100. Now you'll notice something from me. Maybe you already noticed it. I see one kind of hairy eyeball already. This line as opposed to 2 zeros. This is an accounting thing. The accountants a lot of times will put a line when there aren't any cents, 0 cents. Because extra set of zeros there starts to get a little bit confused. A lot of zeros. And those zeros get misplaced. I mean, a huge difference between $100
and $1
and $1,000 and $1. Okay? So that little line there, which indicates 0 cents, is just one way of trying to eliminate zeros, minimize the number of zeros, but yet still show that we didn't forget anything. It's not like we forgot the cents amount. We just know that there's 0 cents. Okay, so that's what you're going to see from me. That's kind of one of the habits that I've created. And it's now if we go back to the check, you've got examples in your study guide of all the different parts of the check, which include the routing number, the account number, check number down here at the bottom. Those are important numbers to be able to recognize. I won't ask you in a test which one of these numbers is the routing number and which one is the account number. But let me tell you that in your adult life, knowing which is which is going to be beneficial. Now, it's a pretty simple Google search. That's why I don't think as much is needed. Okay? But you need to know. First number is the routing number, second number is the account number, third number is the check. Okay, so look at the check. We're going to start writing this check out. We have a situation here where we need to write a check out to the All American Health Club for $36.75 for the monthly dues. We're going to start writing this check out from the top and just kind of work our way from the top down, left to right. So as far as the date goes, how you format the date, I don't care. If you want to write it out, all the way out, that's fine. If you want to abbreviate in some acceptable format, that's fine as well. I have a tendency to write the date like such. How you do it again is up to you. If you're a 3-13-18 person, that's fine. If you're like, no, I want to go March, MER 13, 2018, that's fine as well. Somehow, some acceptable format, you need to identify the date. The next line, the pay order, that's who the check is going to. In this case, we're making this payment to who?
All American Health.
All American Health Club. One important thing. Need to make sure it's legible. If you're like, oh, I have ineligible handwriting, learn to write legibly. Because, quite honestly, what's going to happen, they can't read it.
You're going to throw it away.
Did you pay your account? No. Whose fault is it?
Ours.
Yours. Okay? Again, welcome to life. Okay, so you have to write as legibly as you possibly can. You have to make sure that everything fits on that line. So we're going to write it out. Now, you notice a lot of times who that check is going to will fit very easily on that line. There'll be some extra space. There is something that we like to recommend, especially on this line. The next line is to be required. But by filling that extra space with a line, it's going to add a bit of security to your check.
So they could write something different.
They could write something different. By simply writing the word "or" and then their name, now that check basically is allowing them to cash it. Now, hopefully, teller or whoever's cashing your check at the bank does their job, looks at that check and says, All American Health Club or Hunter Frenzel. Ooh, that doesn't make sense. Why would Hunter Frenzel be associated with the All American Health Club? Okay, hopefully that raises the red flag. But again, it has been known that people less qualified have somehow gotten jobs for their cash and checks. It could happen. If it's my money, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing everything possible to ensure that that money goes to who it's supposed to go to. Especially when all I have to do is draw a line. I mean, that takes very minimal extra effort. So I'm going to fill that space in with a line. The next part is obviously the amount of the check. So I'm going to write the amount in. Again, I'm going to make it as legible as I can. I'm going to make sure that it's easy to read and differentiate between the dollars and the cents. I've gotten a habit of superscripting my cents. And here you don't. You don't have to there. But you could. Okay, if you want to put in a fraction over 100, that's fine, but you don't have to. The next line which is writing the amount of the check out in words, there's where you would have to. And again, writing the check amount out in words. And I don't know remember what grade it was that you probably did this, probably somewhere around third, fourth, fifth grade, where you actually practiced writing numbers out. Okay, and there might have even been like spelling words. Right, like I remember a weekly, when I was in grade school, our weekly spelling words one time was like numbers. And writing, 14s and the 20s and the 30s and all those numbers out were actually as actual words. Is it going to avoid this check if you spell a number wrong?
Yeah.
So, as long as it's recognizable. It doesn't look. Kind of makes you look foolish, right?
Well, I can't.
Okay. Then learn. Right? And then learn. You can't, if you just get, I can't spell.
I went to med.
Well, then tell you what, Cody, there's been millions of people that can spell as well.
Well, I started off in
Well, maybe there's a problem. I
I'm
don't
thinking so.
There's your problem.
I'm thinking so, because my dad can't.
know. But learn then, right? Okay? It's only a reflection of you. This line is what matters. Doesn't matter what you have written here. It only matters what you have written here. If you have the wrong amount written here, this is what is taken out of your account. If you accidentally say $136.75 here, they're going to take $136.75 out of your account. That line has to be accurate. It has to be legible. Now again, as we write those amounts out, couple of things. Number one, the word and should only appear once. And I don't care if you use a symbol, fancy plus sign, plus it should only appear once, and it should only appear between the dollars and the cents. In this example, doesn't make a big deal. It's not a big deal. But if this check was out for $136.75, we would typically say $136.75. And that's not the way it's written. That would simply be written 136 and 75. The word and only appears once. You already have the word dollars here. So we don't need to write the word dollars again. We need to write the cents as a fraction. Why? Because the word dollars. 75 of 100 cents. Fraction. If it's 0 cents, good question. If it's 0 cents, you have two options. You can either put 0 over 100 or the word no over 100. Okay, either way is fine. Either way is acceptable. But you have to have it as a fraction. The good news is you don't have to reduce the fraction. John?
Sure. I'm not gonna like 0, 0, X.
I don't think so. I think you might see no more than most, but
Oh, okay, so take
three banks, I should say. It doesn't have to be the same thing.
Okay,
Okay, so it's 3 banks.
okay.
Okay. Next one. Savings doesn't have to be the same 3 banks. It has to be 3 banks. This is 3 banks. Okay. All right. Again, make sure you got the line. Again, is there a preferred way? Not really. Not really. You know, most businesses now have computer programs. Most computer programs would probably put 00. Next line, the memo. Again, and just a note as to what this is for both you and the person who is receiving the check. So it's a good idea to write something there. In this case, we're writing a check for what? Monthly dues. And then lastly, sign. From a homework standpoint and test standpoint, here's the hardest thing for students. I know it's almost physically impossible for some people to sign somebody else's name. Like the pen does not go in that direction. Okay, so to sign James Morrison is like physically impossible for some people. I don't care whose name is there, if it's your name or the person who's up on the check. I really don't care, as long as there's a signature. So if it's easier for you to sign your name, so it's not you, with your signature, that's fine. I just want to see it. Should be the next person.
Apparently mine just too square with this.
Yeah? Mine's got a slot here too. Yes, teacher. All right, now recording that down here on the register. Okay? Notice that there is a white and a gray shaded line. I'm going to recommend to you, and I know that maybe your parents don't, or maybe your parents taught you don't have to do this or whatever. I'm going to recommend to you that for each transaction, for each check, you use 2 lines, a white and a shaded. So you can kind of see where the black lines are here. Each one of those big black line sections is what you use to record. It's going to hopefully create a situation where there's less chance of you making an error. Especially if you don't have great handwriting, or you have a tendency to get sloppy when you get rushed, like I can have pretty good handwriting if I sit and take my time. But ain't very often I'm sitting taking my time, so I'll slip with it. If you're in the line at Walmart, and there's 100 people behind you, you want to get under that spot. Right? So, use both lines. So now we're going to record this. Let's take a look at this register. There's a couple of columns I want to talk about. First column, number or code. This is either going to be the check number, if you're writing out a check, or a code, a 1, 2, or 3-letter code that you're going to use to describe the type of transaction. I think I gave you those codes in your study guide. The codes are D for deposit, ATM, if you're using your debit card to draw money from an ATM machine. EF, let me write those down.
What was ATM?
ATM.
Yeah.
EFT for a transfer. So if you're transferring money from your savings to your checking, or from your checking to your savings, EFT, electronic funds transfer. And then lastly, DC for debit card. I think those cover them all. So depending upon what you do, so the check number, these codes go in there if that's the type of transaction that we have. Date. Transaction description. This is where people get confused. You may want to make a note, write it down, tattoo it on on the back of your hand, whatever.
That's that too good?
Transaction description is less of a description and more who is the check going to. So this should be the same as the pay to the order line. If you're using your debit card, obviously you don't have a pay to the order, but who would you be putting on that line if you're writing a check to your debit card? Okay, you'd be writing the name of the business or the name of the person that you're giving the money to. If it's a deposit, simply write the word deposit. If you want to put something after that in parentheses like paycheck or whatever, that's fine. But write the word deposit. Take the money out of the ATM machine, write down ATM withdrawal or cash withdrawal, something like that. Okay. EFT, transfer from savings. Transfer to savings. We know it's going in your, you know it's in your checking account, right? Because it's on here. But where is that money being transferred to? Your savings account? Or from your savings? Okay, so that's what that, and that's where most students get in trouble. Obviously, we got two columns here, the amount paid. So if it's a withdrawal, the amount's gonna go there. This is deposit, it's gonna go in this column. There's a column here for a check mark. See that? We're gonna use that later when we start talking about reconciling bank statements. What we're gonna use to check off checks and deposits that are cleared with the bank that they know about. It's on the statement, we're gonna put a little check there, and we're gonna put that in that column. And then obviously the balance. So as we look at this and enter this in, we have a check here. Check number is 563. Today's date, transaction, All American Health Club. Payment amount is $36.75. Now here's something that maybe you're not used to doing, or maybe your parents don't do. Over here in the balance, we're using this top line here. Write in the same amount and put the operator that you need to do. If it's a payment, we're going to subtract out $36.75. That way it's less confusing. We know what we have to do. And if we want to get really crazy and actually do this math by hand, easier to do it. And then the balance on the second half. How did I come up with that number so fast?
You're a wizard.
That is the second time I'm doing it, remember? Actually, third. And I am just S1. Okay, so that's the first one, first transaction that we have. So that's what that transaction should look like. We now know that this right here, the 6325, is the balance of my checking account. That's where I'm going to look for that number. Okay, we have one more transaction up there. We took $20 out from an ATM. So we're going to record that. Code is an ATM. 313. ATM withdrawal for $20, yep. Subtract out 20. That's how I record. Some checking accounts have a fee for every check that you write. Matt, you with me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I Then it costs you like, you know, 10 cents to write a check. Most checking accounts have gone away from that. Because there were some, maybe there still are some where it costs you money to write a check out. And so you have to add, you know, put that fee.
Our dues, it costs $2.
Write a check.
Write a check, please.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what that looks like. Questions on this? Okay. Deposit side, I'm gonna run through this rather fast, rather quickly. Huh? No, because you never really know.
Okay, I wasn't sure, that's
Yeah.
what I wanted.
Yeah, well, you never really know. Okay. This is more like the general journal.
Okay.
You're thinking about the statements. The financial
Oh,
statements.
yeah,
Just
okay.
write a check. Here, here's all.
Now, if you take a look at the deposit slip, I'm gonna be honest with you. Most people today, I should say that, a lot of people today don't fill out their own deposit slip. Then again, with technology, whether it be through mobile banking, whether it be through, I don't know, your laziness, I guess. Don't fill out deposit slips. And if you take your checks or whatever to the bank, you give them their check, that teller fills out the bank, fills out the deposit slip for you. Okay? So again, not saying they're dishonest, I'm saying they're human. There is a chance that they can make a mistake. There is a chance that they could be dishonest. If I can fill this out ahead of time and know what I'm supposed to have, and then they go through and fill it out and do it, if that number adds up to be the same, I'm pretty confident that I'm depositing the right amount. Okay, so again, this is just a double check system. And to me, it seems to make sense. It has a double or triple or quadruple check system in place when I'm dealing with my money. Okay, now if you don't care about your money, hey, let me know. I'll manage your money for you. I'll charge you a small fee. Okay, but to me, this is pretty easy to make sense. From the deposit slip standpoint, all these deposit slips are a little bit different, but if you look at the information, understand the information, they're easy to figure out. Read the directions basically, okay? Every deposit slip, regardless of how it's set up, you have a place for the date. It's probably going to ask you for a signature, especially if you're going to want cash back from that deposit. And then it's going to have a couple pieces of information. It's going to have a line at the top here that's for cash deposits. Cash deposits is anything that is either coin or currency. If you're taking your piggy bank into depositing your checking account, that's where that amount would be. If you're taking all the cash, all the money that you got for graduation from your graduation cards, the stacks of 20s and 50s and $100 bills, that's where that total would go. That's what that line is for. It's for a deposit. All these slips will have either 2 or 3 or 4 spots to list checks. This example has 3 spots to list checks. If you notice in the directions, there's 4 checks. Somewhat of a problem. Until you flip the deposit slip over. And then you'll see there's a lot more. On this deposit slip, there's room for 2 deposits. You probably can't read this, but on an actual deposit slip, it says, for a total from the other side. Which would be the total amount of the check listed on this side. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go real fast here, right? I'm going to fill this out. In this example, today's date. I'm going to sign it because I'm getting cash back. I'm depositing $1.65 in cash and depositing 4 checks. One from Billings Realty for $132.12. One from John Keller for $14. I've got 2 more, so I'm going to leave this spot here for my total from the back. One from Mary Blake for $25. And one from the IRS. Thank you, President Trump, for $300. Total on the bottom, $325. $325. I'm gonna add all those up. And 9, 10, 12, 472, 77. That's my subtotal. A subtotal line should always be filled in. Always have a line. The next line is a less cash received. In this instance, we want $50 back. So I write 50. Even if I want nothing back, you depositing all the money to my checking account, I'm still gonna put something, either a 0 or I would just put a line through it. Again, it shows that I don't want anything back, number 1. Number 2, prevents anybody from putting a number in there and getting the number back, the amount back for themselves. It's very low security.
Pretty simple.
But it's simple, but it's there.
Don't put in 99 cents, couldn't it?
They could.
That's still a dollar.
But again, they're only getting 22 cents from me. It's very good. Okay. Now I still got to record this, right? Down at the bottom, I still got to record this. My code would be deposit D. Looks something like that. Bottom line on the bank statement, on the front slip, the bottom 3 lines need to have something. Almost all deposit slips to me are worth 5 points. 1 point that you have this filled out, 1 point that you have stuff up here filled out, and 1 point for each of these lines. And either if it's 0, to identify that it's 0, either line through it or by the actual number. Questions on the deposit slip?
I can't remember what time do you use the back?
When you don't have enough room up here. to listen. Oh, this would be for counting out if you had a lot of cash. This is kind of a table for that. So if I had 2 100 bills, I put 2 there, 2 times 100 is 350, 3 times 50 is 150.
I'm gonna remember what it is.
Say that again. This one? Iris Blake. Blake. From Mary Blake. Okay. So Mary Blake wrote me out a check for $25. I'm putting the word Blake here, just so I know there's $25 from that Mary Blake check. Yeah, check from Mary Blake. It's out of there. I
You want to get checked on what's requested.
Suppose it has your routing.
So it'd be a complete stranger giving out.